Welcome to Family Gamer TV. We're back with the Pestridges and Vanessa again.
Hello.
Now, I know you're saying you don't know an awful lot about the PEGI ratings.
No.
Okay, well, I'm working with a new website called askaboutgames.com,
Right.
which is run by the video game industry.
Right.
And it's there to try and help people understand...
Idiots like me.
Well, no, not at all. It helps people understand who maybe haven't had the best message from the industry about what a PEGI rating is, how it might help you. Now, these are the ratings.
Yeah, I know what they are.
Here.
I've seen the little things, but what I never know is it telling you what age kids can play it, as in technically play it, or sort of like PG ratings, whether it's suitable?
Yeah, well, that's the first thing to say. It's the former. Is the content suitable for that age group?
Okay,
Yeah,
so whether it's as in like not blood and guts and gore for a young kid, rather than whether dexterity-wise they'd be able to manage the play of it.
That's right, yeah. So on every video game that's sold currently, you'll have a PEGI rating of 3, 7, 12 or 16.
Okay.
And for older games, usually those are done by the BBFC with a circle, like films.
Okay.
But the system's changing to a single system to make it simpler. So PEGI will do all video games, and they'll become the statutory body looking after that. So the idea is that makes it a lot simpler.
Okay. So it won't look like the film rating, like a stamp.
That's right. So this game here, here we've got
it's got
Uncharted
15, like
3, and it's got 15. But you see some games that have a 16 PEGI or even an 18 PEGI, so there's a bit of a mixed system at the minute. But going forward, the government has finally got around to updating legislation and making PEGI the single authority on it, which I think is a good thing.
So they won't go with the 15, 18, they'll go with this 12, 16 kind of age category.
It's a traffic light system.
Okay.
So you get the green PEGI criteria, which is the 3 and 7. Then you have, which is green. Then you have 12 and 16, which is orange. And then you have 18, which is red. Okay. So they'll do the whole spectrum.
And will it be illegal, like, to let a child buy something that's not appropriate to their age? Like you wouldn't be able to let somebody into the cinema. Would it have that sort of? It does
at the higher end of the spectrum. It does. So the 12 and 16 and the 18, it would be an offence for a shop to sell.
Okay.
A minor or someone under that age the game.
Okay, that's good. But for the other ones, like they're not going to say, well, is your child doesn't look like they're quite 7 yet.
I think because the assumption is that they'd be buying the game maybe with their parents, and sort of the 3 and the 7 age, it's more of an advisory thing. And it's there for parents to make a better and a more informed choice about what the content is of a game. Yeah. So you're saying that you hadn't really got the PEGI?
No, well, I thought it was. If I had to have voted, I would have said it was to do with playability, like how easy it was to play it, rather than linking it. Because if they'd have put these ones on, you immediately know that that's to do with content. Whereas this, because it looked different, I thought, well, that must be to do with how easy it is to play or not.
Yeah.
So I would have been wrong.
It's a very easy mistake to make, particularly because there have been 2 systems. So. Going forward and having a single system, I think should make it simpler. Yeah. And also make it easier for PEGI and this website I'm working on, Ask About Games, to get that message out of here's the advice to help you as a parent.
So will that website also tell you why it's got a particular rating? Do you know, like the reason it is older is because there's fighting in it or because there's language or like you again with films, it tells you why it's got a rating.
Well, in a similar way to films, you'd look on the back of the box. If you look on the back of a box with a PEGI rating on it, and it's got symbols next to the PEGI rating saying violence. So that's why that game's being rated. And if you then also went online and went to the website that's referenced there, PEGI.info, you could look the game up and you'd get a little bit more information.
Exactly what it is. Okay.
About what it is. And what we'll be doing on Ask About Games is also then providing a bit more information for games which maybe are particularly good for families or maybe games which are particularly contentious, saying, okay, well, here's some more background of how those PEGI ratings were arrived at.
Yeah. Any clips on it? Because that would be useful to actually see an example of why it was classified. You could show a little clip of somebody playing it, and then the parent's like, oh, well, violent. It lets you know whether you agree with that being deemed as, scary.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea, I think. That's not something that's currently done, but having a little image of the particular scene or a bit of footage.
Yeah, something gives you a bit
alongside it. I mean, something that's quite good to do is to go onto YouTube and search for the game if you're buying a game and do a bit of research.
Okay.
Obviously, if you're in the shop already, it's a bit late. But if you're thinking about buying a game and you want to find out what's in this game, it's like. And also, something I know that you do sometimes and I recommend is to play the game first. If there's a game you're not 100% sure, or perhaps it's rated slightly older.
Generally, I'd ask you, don't I, though?
That's a good third way to do it, is if you know somebody who's got kids of a similar age, particularly if they play games as well, then it's great to ask them, and not only to find out which games are safe to play, but say, well, which games have you had most fun with, which ones have worked best for your family.
It's that independent review, because when you go online, you always read the reviews that are the people trying to sell it to you, because of course they're going to say all the great things about it, but it's having somebody that's actually played it but hasn't got a vested interest. It's really, you can't beat that.
Yeah. I mean, so when you're buying games currently...
Yes.
Do you read any reviews, or do you...
Yeah, I do a bit of searching, but I always feel like I always end up getting stuck with the persuasive writing kind of thing, rather than a balanced thing, apart from Family Gamer, obviously.
Well, I mean, that is...
that's why it works, isn't it, I think?
That's where the industry's at, I think, because there's a large amount of really avid gamers who are mainly talking about how good the sound and graphics are on the games. If you Google for a particular game, you're more likely to hit one of those reviews. Yeah,
I'm not really bothered about that. I want to know about the sort of, well, what it's like, what do you actually do in the game, and just the sort of things that matter to kids, not really, exactly. I just think that the sound of that car is exactly like the car.
Yeah, it's really realistic, or it's really like a film.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other questions you'd have that maybe the website Ask About Games should be answering for PEGI?
I mean, it would be useful to have maybe a place where parents can put certain key qualities and maybe rate them, something like that. So you could have, so you could talk about the visuals of it, or how accessible it is in terms of the language of it. Like I'm saying, this is a guidelines for violence and things like that. Actually, it would be nice to know how complicated it is, and whether a younger child could actually access that game.
Yeah, difficult.
Even if they're, I mean, if they're this, I saw one that was a Formula One racing one. Well, actually, a lot 3-year-olds would probably.
I struggle with that.
Really struggle to play it.
Yeah.
So that sort of information, playability or whatever, would be really useful.
Yeah, and I think that's something we'll be doing. But also, like you're suggesting, getting other parents to actually comment, both on how suitable was this game for a particular age group, and like you're saying,
well, just
how
simple
easy
things,
was it?
What my kid liked and what my kid didn't like about it would be really insightful, I think. It doesn't need to be highbrow.
Cool. Well, you'll be launching the site in the coming weeks.
Great.
So I'll send you a link.
Yeah, okay. I'll comment.
That's all we've got time for this week in Family Gamer TV, but we'll be back soon.